Jai Hind everyone. Myself Achintya Pandey, Assistant Professor in Department of IT at Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College. Today we will see inheritance, right? And this topic comes under object-oriented system design, okay, which is useful in computer science and IT branch. So the objective is to explore the concept of inheritance. So what is inheritance? In object-oriented programming, inheritance is the very powerful and useful method. Okay. Inheritance basically, how can we reuse? Right. The idea of reusability comes. The idea of reusability is being implemented by using the concept of inheritance. Okay. So let's see the basic of inheritance, and then we see. So the capacity of a class, as we have already discussed, like in object-oriented programming, everything is just like object and class, their interaction between. Okay. So class we have already discussed. So the capacity of a class to derive property and characteristic from another class is called inheritance. Okay. Class will contain the data and method. Method means functions, member functions. Okay. So what is the inheritance? So this is the property, how you can inherit. Okay. How the property and the characteristics can be inherited from another class, that can be done using the concept of inheritance. It is a feature in which new classes are created from the existing classes. The new class created is called derive class. Okay. Or you can say sometimes subclass or child class. Okay. And the existing class is known as base class, or sometimes we can say parent class. Okay. So the derived class now is said to be inherited from the base class. Okay. Like so if we write some class, for example A, and there are some member, there are some functions. Okay. So whatever the property of A, that can be inherited by creating, for example, say another class B. Okay. And there are some syntax which we have discussed here in using C++. Okay. So like the moment we write this class B colon public A, means we have created a new class whose name is B, and this class is going to be inherited the property of A. So there will not be need to include all these things in A, because it is already, we are not creating all the function and member of class A, but we can inherit, we can access, we can use, right, the class A. Okay. So let's have some more points, and so okay. So inheritance is a feature or a process in which new classes are created from the existing classes. The new class is called derived class, and the old class is called base class or parent class. When we say derived class inherits the base class, it means the derived class inherits all the properties, right? All the property of the base class without changing the property of base class, and may add new feature to its own. Okay. Like the property of software, one property is maintainable. How can we maintain? Maintain means the software must be what? Flexible. Time to time requirement may change. Okay. So if there are, say for example, from current time and after few year, the requirement may change. Okay. The requirement may add. Okay. So we will not create base class. This is already the function or the utility, whatever is there will be already there, and the new or exclusive required which for at the time, that can be added, and whatever the earlier, that can be inherited. Okay. So in the software, especially the maintainable features, that can be maintained by using the concept of inheritance. Okay. So the derived class is specialized class. So subclass, superclass, parent class will be sometimes called super class, and the class which we are going to derive is called subclass and all. Okay. For example, let's see, we have a class vehicle, okay, and these all are the function or methods like fuel amount, capacity, apply brake, say these all are the functions. Okay. There may be some data, of course. Class vehicle has data, I mean registration number and all, whatever the data, okay, type, right? So these all are the functions which could be applied on the data. So class vehicle, we can create some say kind of bus class, car class and truck class. So all the class will have already the feature of vehicles, but bus has some new features which may not be in the car or may not be in the truck. So the new or unique features that can be only added in the bus class, rather than we are going to add all the, I mean, features of vehicle. It is already there. Okay. So we can use the property of vehicle class in even bus or car or even truck, right? So using inheritance, we have to write the function only one time instead of 3 times, as we have inherited the rest of 3 class from the base class. Means there is no need to write the implementation part of common class. Okay. So implementing inheritance is C++. How we see as per the implementation, we can implement the idea of our inheritance either by using C++ or you can do by Java. Okay. So let's see, the derive class is defined in the class derive. Let's see first the syntax, how we can derive. So for example, whatever the new class or subclass which we are going to create, we can just write class and the name of the new class. For example, derive class name, whatever. Access is specifier and base class. Base class is already there. Access is specifier. There are 3 access is specifier. One is private, public and protected. Okay. So sometimes we can write, say, class whatever, say B, private A, okay, colon, and there is a symbol of colon. This is the syntax by using C++. Okay. So we have to write the keyword class and derive class name, then colon, then access is specifier, either sometime private or public or protected, right? They are the access is specifier by which we can limit the access of member of derive base class. Okay. So this is the syntax. If we do not mention any access is specifier, either private, public, protected, it becomes the private. The private is taken by default. Okay. So we can see here class this name which will inherit access either of like this. Private is taken as default. Okay. For example, we have we are like class ABC colon private XYZ. So access specifier is private, XYZ must be already there. Okay. So XYZ become the base class and ABC becomes the derived class of this base class. Okay. Similarly, class ABC public XYZ, protected XYZ, and class ABC XYZ. We do not have mentioned any access specifier. So by default, it will become private derivations. So there are some, I mean, access limitations of private, public and protected, we will see. So when a base class is privately inherited, like private base class, okay, by the derived class, public member of the base class become the private, okay, member of the derived class, and therefore the public member of the base class can only be accessed by the member function of the derived class. Okay, they are inaccessible to the, I mean, if we are going to create say class, derived class, and the base class is just before the base class we have written private. So the member, the whole member, I mean, our base class become the private, and you know, private member cannot be accessed by the object directly. Okay, they can only be accessed by the function of that particular class. So that is written here. The public member of base class can only be accessed by the member function of the derived class. The public member base class can only be accessed by the member function of the derived class. They are inaccessible to the object. On the other hand, when the base class is publicly inherited by the derived class, public member of the base class can also become the public member of the derived class. Therefore, the public member of the base class are accessible by the object of the derived class. Okay. So, there are three modes of inheritance already discussed: public mode, private mode and protected mode. So, whenever the mode is private, so the whole public and private of the base class become the private. So, they cannot access directly by the object of even derived class or base class. Okay. So, if we derive a subclass from a private base class, then both public member and protected member of the base class will become private in the derived class. Okay. So, the both public and private member of the base class, that will become the private of the derived class, and private member can only access by the functions. Okay. So, we have written some, but if it is public mode, so if we derive a subclass from public base class, then the public member of the base class will become public in the derived class. Okay, and protected member of base class will become protected in the derived class. Okay, so if base class has public member, they could directly access by the object of the derived class. Okay, so the private member in the base class cannot be directly accessed in the derived class. Okay, while protected members can be directly accessed. See, private members of the base class cannot be directly accessed in the derived class. Directly access means by creating the object of derived class, we cannot access. Okay. While protected member can be directly accessed. For example, classes B, C and D all contain the variable x, y, z in the below example. It is just a question of access. See here. This is the type of inheritance. Base class member access specifier. Okay. So, public, private. If base class is public, okay. So, base class member access specifier. If it is public, then the public member of becomes public, protected become protected, private become private. Let's see with the example. Base class. The below table summarizes the above three model and show the access specifier of the member of the base class in the subclass when derived in public, private and protected mode. So, type of inheritance. So, type of, if base class member X specifier, for example, like this is the class A, okay, and they could have private data, they could have public data or function public. Okay. Let's derive class B. Say if we write here public class A, okay, public class A. So, a base class, say this is the public class, here we can write public class A. So, base class member access is specifier like this. If it is public, then the type of inheritance, public member of the base class become the public, protected member of the base class become protected as such, and private member of the base class become the private. If base class, if here we write protected, the meaning of this table is, then protected member of the base class become protected, protected member of the, base class protected, and public member of this become protected, this also become protected, and private member become private. Means in all case, if it is private data, a base class cannot be directly accessed. Similarly, if it is private, then public is not accessible because public data becomes the private. So this is not accessible. Okay, this is also not accessible because if it is private, for example, this is the, if the base class is the access specifier of base class is private, so the whole public or private all becomes private, and private cannot be inaccessible directly by the derived class object. Okay, so that's why here written not accessible, not accessible, not accessible. So this is the meaning of the table. Okay, so what is inheritance? Inheritance is the capacity, okay, or we can to inherit the properties and feature of another class. How we can inherit, how we can access the property or even the features of any existing class. If we want to inherit the same property, we can create as many derived class. So there are so many types of inheritance like single inheritance, multi-level inheritance, multiple inheritance, hierarchical inheritance and hybrid inheritance. For example, this is the single level inheritance. B inherit the property of A, okay, and that could done by the, they could inherit, I mean this B can inherit the property of A privately, publicly and protected. There are three modes of inheritance, okay, means we can write base class as a private base class, say class B colon public class A, or private class A, or protected class A. So this is the example of single inheritance or single level inheritance. Just there is one level, B inherit A, okay. So that could be represented like this, and syntax is just whatever the derived class, you can just write class this access mode, I mean private, public are protected, and then you can write the body of the subclass, okay. So the unique feature which you want to add or that could be changed after some time, that features only are can be added in the subclass, okay, and existing one could directly be accessed, okay. So for example, this is the say base class, okay, and now we are going to create class B, okay, and this class B inherit the property of A. So class B will contain only the feature which is unique to class B. Rest feature they could directly inherit from A. There is no need to create the same thing in class B. This is a simple program. For example, class vehicle, and you can see this is the constructor, okay, vehicle. So we can create car obj, okay. We have derived a class single level inheritance, class car public vehicles, means this car, this class is going to inherit the property of vehicle class which is already there, okay. So by this way we can create the derived class, okay. Second level is multiple inheritance. Multiple means more than one, if there are more than one base class. For example, class A is going to inherit the property of class B as well as class C, or even you can create more base class. So if a class in, say, if a class inherit the property of two or more than two class, then this become the multiple inheritance. What we'll do? Simply we will create the class. Just earlier we have created class B data and function, class C data and functions. So A derive. So how, what is the syntax of this class A? Class A colon public class B comma public class C, because A is going to inherit the property of B and C. So if a class has more than two base class, two or more than two, then this becomes the example of the category of multiple inheritance, where a class can inherit from more than one base class, okay. That is one subclass is inherited from more than one base class. And this is the syntax. For example, say for example base class, this is the base class B and C. So we have two base class, for example, B and C. Okay, means these all are already there. Now we are going to create class A, which is inherited, which is going to inherit the feature of B as well as the feature of C. So this is the syntax which is used in C++. Okay, just separated by comma, we can create multiple inheritance. Rest syntax is similar, just like as single inheritance. Multi-level inheritance, multi-level, more than one level. For example, here class A inherit the property of B, which is inherit the property of C. Just we can this example, just we can analogy with grandchildren inherit some property of parent, and they can inherit the property of their grandparents and so on. So this becomes the example of multi-level inheritance. In this type of inheritance, a derived class is created from another derived class. This is another derived class because this class inherits the property of class C. So okay, so if a class which is inherited from another derived class, then this becomes the multi-level inheritance. So in more than one level, right? One level, second level, and so on. Okay. This is the syntax. For example, this is a class C. Class B is inheriting the feature of class C. Okay. And class A is inheriting class B. Class A is inheriting class B, which is class B is already derived class. Okay. Because class B inherits the property of C. So A is going to inherit the feature of B, which by default inherits the feature of class C. Okay. And this is the public. Public means the private becomes private and public become public of base class. Okay. Hierarchical inheritance. Hierarchical just like tree. Okay. Tree is what kind of data structure which is, we can say, hierarchical. For example, see the diagram, like this become class B is going to inherit the feature of G, class E is also going to inherit the feature of E. Okay. So what is hierarchical inheritance? In this type of inheritance, more than one subclass is inherited from a single base class. Okay. Single base class, that is more than one derived class is created from a single base class. Multiple में क्या था? More than one base class था. यहाँ क्या है? More than one derived class है. यानी एक ही class से, okay, just from a single base class, so many classes can be derived. Okay, like B is derived from G, E is also derived from G. Similarly, we can see here A and C both are derived from B. Here class D and F both are derived from class E, which is already derived from class G. Okay, so this become this hierarchy, we can say, just like a tree hierarchy is called tree type data structure. If we maintain in terms of inheritance, then this become the hierarchical inheritance. This is just syntax. We have a say class A base class. Okay, class B is just going to inherit the A, and here class C is going to also inherit A. It means base class is same. So B and C both are inheriting the property of A. Okay, and class D is also going to inherit the property of A. Okay, means A, this become B, C and D. Okay, like that, single level and hierarchical inheritance. Okay, class A, public A, public A, public A, B, C, D. Okay, so like this means B, C, D both, I mean all three have same feature of A, or common feature, not same feature, but the common feature of A could be inherited by these three, B, C, D, and the unique feature, unique means which is only to B, that could be adders. So that is the case, or it is basically used in terms of reusability. Okay, A could be reused in B, C, and D. There is no need to write the same thing in the B, C and D. What we have to do? Just we have to create a new derive class. Okay, no need to write the functionality. Hybrid, or you can say virtual inheritance. So hybrid inheritance is implemented by combining more than one type of inheritance. Hybrid means more than one. Okay, two or more than two. Okay, so it is hybrid inheritance is implemented by combining more than one type of inheritance. For example, combining hierarchical inheritance and multiple inheritance. Okay, hierarchical means in hierarchy, like, okay, like we can create so many derived class from just one base class. Okay, and multiple inheritance. What is multiple? So many base class. Okay, one derived class could access by more than one base class. One derived class can be accessed by more than one derived class. Means the features of say B1, for example, base class 1, okay, that could be accessed, features of B2 and so on, right? So here just see class E. Class E inherit the property of class F and class G. So how many types of inheritance? Yeah, what type of inheritance are here? Up to this, class F, class G and class E. Class E inherit more than one base class. So this becomes the example of multiple inheritance. And class B, class E inherit the property of class F, I mean single base class. So this becomes the hierarchical. So here we can say this inheritance combine the feature of hierarchical as well as multiple. Multiple means more than one base class. This has two base class, this becomes multiple. Hierarchical means more than one derived class. More than one derived class means single base class. Okay, like that. Similarly, class A and class C, more than one derived class, okay, from the same base class. So this is the example of hierarchical. So hybrid or virtual inheritance is implemented by combining more than one type of inheritance. Okay. Okay. Below image shows the combination hierarchical and multiple. So that's all about the general idea of inheritance. We can implement in just by creating implement in either C++ or Java. Okay. So the software many times reused. I mean, there is, if we do not want to rewrite the same code or similar code, okay, then the concept of inheritance is useful, okay, and that can be done in today's ongoing software, okay. So thank you all.